So I recently got a chance to check out the Scream movies, and I think since today is Halloween, I thought it would be appropriate if I reviewed the original Scream. Scream was released in 1996 and was directed by the late Wes Craven. So Scream tells the story of a young girl named Sydney Prescott, played by Neve Campbell. She's going through a tough time in her life since her mom was raped and murdered the previous year, and that's when people in the city of Woodsboro start to get murdered mysteriously, and it's up to her and her friends to figure out what's going on and who's behind the murders. Now, when it comes to slasher films, Scream is one of the most iconic and beloved slasher films ever made, and it was a huge staple back in the 90s especially. What makes Scream work is it's self-aware of itself. It knows what it is. It's going for that tongue-in-cheek approach. And not only does it serve as a really fun and creepy slasher film, but it's also a satirical look at slasher movies as well as a love letter to the horror genre. And it works so well, and it's brilliant. And the cast is fantastic too. Here's the thing. I feel like the Scream movies wouldn't work nearly as well if Neve Campbell was never casted as Sydney, because she is terrific as this character. And here's the thing about Scream. Usually when it comes to slasher films, they usually focus mostly on the killer and not just the side character like Michael Myers and Freddy Krueger, Jason, Chucky, all those guys. But what I like the most about Scream is it doesn't always focus on the killer. It constantly focuses on Sydney. And on paper, that would sound boring, but the way Scream makes it work is so interesting, and you never get bored of Sydney because she is such a likable character. And besides Sydney, I ended up liking all the supporting characters in Scream, like Dewey, Randy, and Gail. The funny thing is, I actually could not stand Gail in this. I thought she was so annoying and too stuck up. And I know that's the point of her character because Gail is essentially supposed to be like the annoying news reporter who no one can stand because she's in everyone's faces and she's trying to like make it big, top tier. However, there's one person in Scream who I feel like does not get enough credit for his performance, and that's Matthew Lillard as Stu. I always knew Matthew Lillard was a great actor. Now, say what you want about the live-action Scooby-Doo movies. They're terrible. But he was fantastic as Shaggy. And once again, Matthew Lillard looked like he was having the time of his life in Scream. Every time he was on screen, he looked like he was having a blast. If I'm being honest, and this might sound like a hot take, but I wouldn't call Scream scary. Now, is it creepy? For sure. The best way to sum up Scream is it's basically creepy and suspenseful, but I don't know if I would exactly call it scary. I do have some nitpicks with Scream. They're not exactly major problems, but there's some gripes I do have with it. Without going into spoilers, they do make the twist a little obvious at some parts. There's one specific scene where you kind of do start to figure it out, and it kind of does make it a little obvious who's responsible for the murders. And I liked Ghostface, but they kind of do make him a little bit of a cartoon character. I say that because there's those scenes where he's chasing after Sydney, and Sydney's just throwing objects at him, and every time she throws an object at him, he just gets up like nothing happened, and he doesn't have any injuries, like he's indestructible. He's like the Black Knight from Monty Python and the Holy Grail, and every time Sydney throws a huge and heavy object on him, he's fine. It's like a Tom and Jerry cartoon. So guys, if you're looking for a really fun and entertaining movie to watch on Halloween, I definitely recommend checking out Scream. It's a blast from start to finish. The best way to sum up Scream is it's like a mix between Halloween and Clueless. If you're not only a huge horror fan, but if you're a huge movie buff in general, you're definitely gonna dig Scream for sure. I give Scream a B+. Now, as for the sequels, I plan on reviewing them in the future for sure. Now, if you have seen Scream, what are your thoughts on it? Or, what is your favorite slasher film of all time? Whatever it is, just leave it in the comments below. And if you want to see more of my videos, just be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more great content. And I hope you all have a happy Halloween.